This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and what's his name again? Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Here's a question. Here is a question. I read a good, positive reference to the Umberto Eco novel, Naming of the Rose. I thought I'll read that. Sounds good.
Give my love to the 90s.
Yeah. So I got 3 pages in and thought, oh, for goodness sake. How many pages is a justifiable abandonment for a book? Do you have a figure where you think, I've got to give it a chance? 20, 50? 3, I know, is at the sharp end.
May I ask, and I will, what was it that made you abandon the book?
I think I might have actually said out loud, and I was reading it in bed, I think I actually said, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it felt, it's got religion and history. It felt like it was absolutely up my Strasse.
It's got you written all over it.
Yeah. Was there a particular passage where you just...
It's got capital U written all over it because of Umberto.
Oh, God.
Pardon?
Was there a sort of turn of phrase or a particular description where you just went, never again, and held it at the wall?
I think I was just thinking, get on with it. You just get on with it.
To see this, the youth these days, they don't have the attention span.
No, you get it with youth, but then obviously when you get older, you don't have time. You don't have time.
What I have it with.
I don't want the doctor to say you've got 6 weeks left, and I think I've got to spend four days on that Naming of the Rose rubbish. I could have used that more constructive.
I tell you, I always find it whenever I go into a book and by page 2, they're still telling me about the landscape and the weather. I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am out.
No Thomas Hardy for you.
Oh, no, I like a bit of Hardy.
Really?
Well, I know what's coming, in fairness. I just think this is the necessary tax I have to pay to get to the good bits, going on about the trees and the...
Yeah.
But I cannot bear sort of overly descriptive landscape stuff. I like people.
It's like when you're reading a biography of someone and they start tell you about when their grandparents first moved to London. You think, oh, no. I'm not going. I didn't buy this book to read about somebody I've never heard of.
Well, you did a brilliant thing with your first autobiography where you said at the beginning, I noticed Frank responding to you did a brilliant thing, he liked that. You said, look, I'm not going to waste time here because I hate it when that happens in books. I'm going straight into where I get famous.
Yes, and then I wrote about my childhood No, what I did is I jumped backwards and forwards, so I gave them a bit of showbiz pap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want.
I think something that some other comedians I know agreed with, with comedians' autobiographies, there's always a bit that we always felt was missing. It's sort of a chapter would end and they go, and that was the story of my first gig. And you go, oh, great. You go to the next chapter. So, live at the Apollo, I was headlining. You go, no. How did you get between the two?
No, yeah. I think I covered that.
You did, yeah.
I did.
That was to your credit.
But you're not helping me with this. What's the minimum amount of pages?
Well,
do you ever use the 69 method? There is an American...
What are you doing?
There's an American thing that if you're buying a book, you read...
8:10 a.m.
You read page 69.
Oh, you do?
And by then, the author is in their full flow. And the story is hanging. So if you stop it, it's honestly, it's like working with Jim Davidson.
Could have chosen any number.
Well, I didn't choose the number. It's a method. So
I know it is. That's the problem.
M's puffing on a Hamlet.
I simply cannot. I cannot work in these conditions.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've heard from some of our lovely readers. We've had some love for your poetry podcast, Frank.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not out yet.
Well, Andy Howell says, I dreamed the other night I was making a poetry podcast. We've all got dreams.
Yeah.
This is Andy Howell's.
Oh, yeah.
Then I woke up, looked on Spotify and found Frank Skinner's. Really enjoying this voyage of discovery, inspiration, paper rustling and honesty. Thank you.
Fabulous.
I know we don't do praise, but the poetry podcast doesn't count.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a new series coming out very soon. I'll keep you posted for anyone who gives a...
That's why
I didn't know you could dip the sound.
You see, that's why you like poetry, because, I mean, with a few exceptions, I give you the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, etc., but you don't have this where do I stop, what page am I out issue
Well,
quite so often.
It's interesting that, because if I read a poetry book, I would probably read 25 pages before I threw the towel in.
So you give more leeway to the poetry book?
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
Because they maybe they're in little chunks, so you could quickly throw one aside and
Well,
go.
the end's in sight.
Yeah.
He likes to know the end's in sight.
Yeah, but if you write a poem that's a page turner, that's probably a bad review.
But Echo, he does.
Echo.
Does Echo, Umberto write?
Is he
lengthy?
still around, Echo?
I don't think so, no.
Is he
No,
not?
okay.
Okay.
He'll be back.
God.
Imagine if you were friends with him. Frank, can you please stop making those silly puns? I'm a serious author.
Exactly.
I don't think you would have been a good friend for him.
Oh, no, I would have stood up for him in any circumstances. I'd have been a sort of a Echo warrior.
This is why you can't be friends with these people.
No, exactly. It's difficult. So,
We've also heard from David Coldley,
yes.
who has enclosed, I don't know if one says enclosed anymore, but he's attached, I should say, a picture of you with Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, yes.
A new Big Finish Doctor Who audio drama with Frank. Does this mean Perkins is back? Do tell Frank, as I know how much Emily loves to hear you talk about Doctor Who.
Yes, I should say that Perkins was the character I played in the TV manifestation of Doctor Who. But this is a completely different character. It's an old, sort of brommy bloke, busybody type. Yeah, but I did get to work.
cast you.
Yeah. The woman said I wrote this part with you in mind. She actually did.
Really?
Since the writer was there, yeah.
It's always a mixed feeling if someone says something like that.
But it was great to work with the Ninth Doctor, obviously.
How exciting.
Yeah, and at the end, they interviewed me with him in the room saying, what's it like, working with Christopher Eccleston?
Oh.
And I ended up, I thought, oh, God, because I was playing it very cool. I hadn't said anything to him today, like, oh, my God, you're the Ninth Doctor. I'd never done any of that. And then it all just flowed out. And he was sort of going, oh, thanks, that's lovely. Thanks for it.
Well, I've got a quote here from the director.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as Chris and Frank met, they hit it off, and you could see the mutual respect and admiration. He got his autograph book out, embarrassing, which was lovely to be around. Frank did admit to his Doctor Who passion. Chris is such a humble guy, and he understands the love and affection people have for it.
Understands. It's a load-bearing verb.
He copes with it well.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've heard from David Brackley, who says, hi, Frank and team. I once ditched a book on the first page. It was written by an American. I can't remember who or what book.
Oh, God. I love that story.
But they were setting the scene in London, and they mentioned punkers on the street corner. They meant punks.
Oh.
Lazy.
Oh, somebody
Exclamation point.
Somebody should have checked that.
Good
shouldn't
day,
Yeah.
prisoner 666.
they? Yeah.
Sorry, Frank, about prisoner 666.
Punkers. Not
That-
good enough.
That
is-
would make me out.
Yeah. There's a job that, well, not a full-time job, but you can be hired as a sort of consultant.
Punkawalla, you can say.
Punkawalla, yeah.
Yeah.
You could be hired as a consultant to get British things correct in American-made stuff and
Okay.
comic books and things, where they sort of go, oh, well, we want this graphic novel to be set in a sort of Harry Potter-style school, but we don't know. We're in Iowa, so we don't know how anyone should sound. And it avoids that terrible thing where you watch something set in the UK but written by Americans, where people go, Cor blimey, the sort of Dick Van Dyke
Well,
Britishness.
you know when you go, have you ever done stand-up in another country? You have, haven't you?
Yeah.
And when you get there, often you corner a local and say, can I just go through a few things in my act? I'm not sure if they use the same word here. So I did that in Canada. I went to the Montreal Festival. And it turned out the guy I did it with, he was in a group of people and he just seemed a friendly guy. So I asked him and he sat and we went through it. Was a Trudeau.
Oh.
I'm wondering now if it's the guy who's in power now. He was related to Pierre and Margaret.
Yes.
And we went to, because I remember I didn't know, and somebody said to me, he's like a Trudeau, and I said, get out of here. And then later someone said, I was in Moscow and blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, yeah, I've been to Moscow. And they said, what hotel did you stay in? And he said, no, I didn't. I stayed at the Kremlin. So I think he was. So that was handy. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Me and, I haven't told Emily about this, me and Pierre had a bit of a boys' outing after the show last week. Because I had a Liberties voucher. Now, I should explain that Liberties is a posh shop in London. It's not a voucher with which you can take liberties. That's what that'd be a dangerous gift, wouldn't it? Not so bad for a non-drinker like myself. It reminded me that when I was a kid, a common phrase was people would say, well, that is a diabolical liberty. People often said that. It's gone. It's gone.
Why have people have ditched her?
Too long, isn't it?
Do you think it's too complicated?
I don't know. It's not going to drop into text speak very easily, is it? DBL.
Devil emoji, Statue of Liberty emoji.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't like spellings.
No,
These days, they don't like spellings. Back in the day, of course, on Bullseye, they even had it as a category.
What?
Do you remember
Diabolical
spellings?
Liberty?
No, they had spellings.
And wasn't it called Word?
Words.
And they had, instead of maths, they had sums.
No,
they really?
didn't
They
have
did.
that. Numbers is what it was called. It was called numbers. And best of all, the geography. Have you ever seen Bullseye?
I've seen
Yeah.
clips.
What was
The geography was called places.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, I'm picturing the two of you wandering up to Liberties. I'd given Pierre sort of instructions, hadn't I, as you left, as we said our goodbyes outside Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
A sort of
It was quite the start of an epic quest.
yes.
Well, he took
Polonius.
he became very responsible, Pierre.
He's got that in him.
Because I'm old and stooped,
Yeah.
and he's like a sort of Conan the Barbarian, he became very sort of advisory.
Oh.
So we went. I had £100 voucher. Now, the way I spend the voucher is the way some people put petrol in a car. I like it on the zero. I don't want this. And you got £2 left. No, not Frank.
And no top-ups.
No, I'm not adding. That's the whole joy of a voucher is you don't have to get your hand in your pocket. So anyway...
Did you find it okay? I was concerned.
Oh, God, your
went through-
directions were perfect.
You went through the back entrance with the confectionery.
I
Yes.
did. Oh, it's a lot of. I hate walking through the perfume bit.
Yeah.
I can't breathe in the perfume bit.
It feels like you're having something tested on you.
Oh yeah. So let's get through the perfume.
I mean, you've lost me here, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, you don't want it in that kind of intensity.
I do. Anyway,
So yeah, it's.
which department?
Well, I wanted sunglasses. That was my thing. My sunglasses have all been broken in various ways, and so I found a pair. 65 quid.
Oh.
And I said, OK, I'm going to get these. And Pierre said, I'm not sure about... I'm not sure about tortoiseshell. And I said, no, I like tortoiseshell's good. As I said, it goes with my teeth. And he said to the guy, I'm not going to keep doing the accent. One more.
Okay.
Is this your full range of sunglasses? And the man said, we got a few downstairs as well. He said to me, right, we'll go and have a look downstairs. I said, no, I like these. I said, this is the way I shop. I don't go looking around. And he said, in the end, Pierre made me put them behind the counter.
Yeah.
So that we could go downstairs and look at the
because
other.
of all the queues of people lining up to take that one pair of tortoiseshell
Well, it
glasses.
was busy in Liberties.
Okay, and so you went downstairs.
So we went. By the way, tortoiseshell frames. That's just a term. They're not actually made from a carapace, are they?
I don't.
Not these days.
Has somebody
No.
styled a carapace?
Perhaps back in the day,
Polished.
I wonder.
And
in this sort of,
I think they were.
one can imagine. I don't know the original sort of Duke of Windsor, perhaps having
Yes.
one of the.
I'll tell you what I'd like. I'd like a pair of Beats with two intact carapaces, one on over each ear. That'd look cool, wouldn't it?
or just sort of, you look like you're in the Flintstones.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of just pop its head out and say, it's a living.
Oh no, it'd have to be dead ones. I wouldn't want to.
He's got standards.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So-
also that'd be like mufflers, the flesh
One
muffle the
thing-
sound.
One thing I love about Liberties and other highly relatable content,
Yeah.
but I do love what Liberties has. If anyone's ever been there, it's got this rather majestic Gone with the Wind staircase, which
Yes.
is unusual for a department store, mahogany staircase.
Yes, we swept down that, didn't we? Or did we
Yeah.
sweep? We swept up it and then we swept down it.
So you
Of course, it wouldn't have been a very big stretch 30 years ago for me to have actually been sweeping it. But now there I am spending my share. So we went downstairs and fair play, I did see a pair I liked better.
How much?
£65 in the sale.
What? Okay, what's happening with the 35?
Well,
Well, I'll come to that.
Oh, dear.
You'd have liked these. They're completely black. They're very, only the lonely. Very, not a carapace in sight.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I wanted to know. Well, I've got two questions. Firstly, what did you spend the £35 left over from your £100 Liberty voucher on?
well,
Can you just imagine the anxiety of me walking around there with that £35 on it? Because I don't like having any. I'm thinking, what if I can't find anything?
Yeah.
Also, Pierre's still going on about the sunglasses at this point.
What's he saying?
Saying I'm not against tortoiseshell in principle, but it's not that light. I don't like that light tortoiseshell.
Oh,
this is it. The contrast between the light and the dark parts of the tortoiseshell was almost a camo effect, and I was against
Yeah,
that.
I'm with you. I'm
I had
feeling.
no idea I was taking a sort of a ticking time bomb into the shop.
What I like about my characterization is that it's the difference between the inner and the outer. In my head, I was playing a sort of grand vizier role. my liege, if I might, these spectacles. Whereas obviously externally, it was like when we were on tour and people assumed I was your bodyguard.
Yeah.
They sort of look at me
It was
nervously
a bit
before getting
like
a
that.
photo.
It
It's
was
a
a
bit
bit.
sort of like John Gielgud, Arthur's butler or something. Did you?
So
you see,
anyway.
I worry that they were. Pierre, you see, I'm with you. Can I just ask you something? Back in a sec, Frank. Were they a sort of slightly unfortunate khaki-coloured tortoiseshell? I don't like a tortoiseshell veering towards the sludge colour.
No, it was the lighter part was that colour, and then the rest was as dark as you'd expect.
It's a bit G.I. Joe. Okay.
A little.
Okay, back to you, Frank.
Okay. I just thought brown eyes, because I've got brown eyes. I thought tortoiseshell was a good. Anyway, that went. I ended up with sunglasses that were as black as midnight on a moonless night, as Agent Cooper once said in Twin Peaks, of his coffee, in fact.
I like the idea that people have to buy sunglasses to match their eyes.
The eye
Well, you got
colour.
to match them to somewhere.
Like, now you've got black eyes.
I'm not buying grey sunglasses all the time to match the rest of me. So anyway, I saw an orange beanie hat,
Sorry, what's happened?
and it said on it,
Had Pierre left presumably
No.
at this point?
No, I'd spent my opinion voucher on the glasses.
Understand.
didn't you have any left on your opinion voucher?
I got it up to the maximum before.
Anyway, it
We
said
don't
on
want to
it,
max that out.
it said on it, made from recycled merino wool.
Oh, Jose.
And I thought, I don't want to be picky, but is all wool, every woolen hat is recycled, isn't it? It was on a sheep originally. They don't shave a beanie directly off a sheep, not
God.
deliberately. So, I didn't pick them up on that. But I tell you what I asked, what I thought was an interesting question. I said to the lady on the counter, because by now I'd got me 35 quid hat. I was happy. I went up to the counter.
You bought this?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
And I said, do you, I've got it in my pocket actually. Do you want to see it?
I guess.
See what you think. I wish you had the glasses as well, though.
Yeah, I should have bought the glasses with me. Hold on, I got my headphones on. It's tricky. What do you think? This is right. This is what radio's all about.
Well, I think we should put this up because...
On social media.
Okay, I'll put it on social media.
Do you know what? You look so happy in it.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said to the lady, no, I'll tell you after this because the producer's getting uppity.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Morning again.
So I said...
To the Liberty Lady.
Yeah, so I said to the man who stood at the gate of the... Sorry, I think that was a New Year's speech from George the Sixth. Anyway, so if anyone knows that, let me know. I think that's right. The gate
Okay.
of the year. Actually, it'd be more. So I said to the man.
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
Even when it went out live, I think it sounded like that.
Yes,
Yeah?
just his voice.
So I said to the lady at Liberties, in case you've just tuned in, I was spending the remaining £35 of my voucher that someone had given me. And I said, do you have the same respect for voucher spenders as people who are spending their own money? Because obviously people spending their own money have come to this shop by choice.
Yes. to pay 180
Yes,
quid
I
for
know
a
what you
cowboy
mean.
shirt.
Yeah. Well, I did don't bring up the cowboy shirt.
What happened? Oh,
was
he
nice.
didn't.
I said to him, after I'd paid, I said, now get me out of here as fast as you can. Ideally with your hands over my eyes, because what I don't want to see is something I could have bought. And it was called a Western overshirt, very sort of fancy material.
Heavy
Yeah.
embroidery on the sort of shoulder.
You know what
I
a
know
Western,
exactly
yeah. And it
what
was
you mean.
reduced in the sale.
Was it a bit achy breaky?
It was a bit, yeah. But anyway, that was it's no good crying over spilt silk.
No.
That's what I always say.
No.
I bodyguarded you out of there without
Yeah, you did.
letting you look at any Western overshirts.
Yeah,
You did the right thing,
I
Pierre.
saw a new side of Pierre, though. He was very,
Did you?
very administrative.
Yes, I see. I think you'd be a good person to go shopping with.
I'm very targeted in a very stereotypically male way, I think, where it's like we go in, this is the object we're buying.
No, but that's what I do, and then you made me put it behind
That's
the
true.
counter.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a diabolical liberty. Oh, what else?
Well, I'm afraid I'm
Don't
locked.
be afraid.
I'm locked out of our content, so
Oh,
I
are you?
can't access the outside. The outside world is a closed shop to me temporarily.
Well, then I'll run something.
Go on.
I'll run something by you. I live near a large patch of land called Hampstead Heath,
I know it well.
and it's beautiful and perfect for dog walkers. And I combine the dog walk with the school run. It all works very neatly, but it's incredibly muddy at the
Yes.
moment. I mean, phenomenally muddy. And my dog is beige.
Would you say it's beige?
I would say it's beige. What colour would you say it is?
I think it's got a lovely sort of.
Fawn? Maybe fawn.
My dog is
maybe.
beige has a very adult language course sample sentence quality to it.
Doesn't it?
Répétez après moi.
My dog is beige. And then you have to say, my dog is beige.
I would say
Very good.
it's a sort of taupe.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Let's stick with fawn.
Anyway, beige, I'm sticking with. So when I take it on the heath, it's very, very muddy in recent times. And when I get back home, the whole lower part... Do you know that shortbread that's not coated in chocolate but dipped?
Yes.
So the lower half is...
yes.
Yeah, that's what the dog looks like.
Right.
I
yeah.
mean, absolutely mud plastered. So we have an external hose,
Oh.
don't we, Pierre?
Yes.
And so I have a hose by the front door.
Absolutely diabolical.
So it's diabolical. And so I hose the dog down before
Yeah.
I take her in. But it's quite difficult because when you're doing the undercarriage underneath the dog, obviously if you miss, the water goes up onto passers-by.
Yes, you're in a sort of a farcical scenario.
Yeah, where you're firing
see-
water at people walking past. And they look, happily, the dog's face is the saddest dog face any dog's ever had. So they go, what the... Oh. My partner thinks that she might actually be depressed, the dog.
The
She
dog?
says she's depressed just because she's got that sad face thing. I mean, that's not a symptom, is it?
Having a sort of sad, wet face.
Having a sad face.
Does
It's
she
not
think
always wet.
it's not a sort of emoji-based condition?
No, exactly. But she'll say, look at her. Do you think she's depressed? No, she's one of those sad-faced dogs that you get. That's why we bought her, so we could go, oh,
You're just a sad-faced dog is a great country
yeah.
song
You're just
title.
a sad-faced dog. And you keep hanging around and sitting on that log when you should be on the ground.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Go on then.
So I've just wondered, this week it was frosty. A white frost. And it's great. The dog doesn't get dirty at all. Perfect.
But does it have little sort of icicles forming on its fur, like when a dog runs through snow and it's sort of...
No, I don't.
You've got to pick those out sometimes.
Yeah, this one, there was a moment when, I don't want to go into too much grim detail, but she did what we used to call her business. And then, where they scoot,
Yes.
Oh, yes.
and that sort of scooting thing that they do,
It's a sort of shake a tail feather thing.
they sort
yeah.
of pulled herself along on the ground. And she was pulling, and suddenly leapt up, and I realised that she'd pulled her bottom directly onto a frozen puddle of ice. It was a real whoa! So,
But on a hot day, imagine.
oh, that'd be lovely. But you don't get much of many frozen puddles of ice on a hot day.
No.
But if anyone's got any life hacks for how to avoid the dirty dog things, it is a pack. You know, I mean, I'm on the walk and I've seen people who put their dogs in onesies and stuff, but I'm not doing it.
But then you're just cleaning a onesie.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just adding to the problem.
Yeah, but what I'd do is I'd leave that just somewhere in the house and hope the cat would clean it. But with the dog, you can't just leave it over a banister.
No, it's a mobile.
I do.
It's a mobile jumping on white sofas, if we had any white sofas.
I
but, you
don't
know.
have a hose, but what I do, I lay down towels for my dog when he enters.
Very Sir Walter Raleigh.
Yes. Do you expect to be rewarded for this?
But he knows now.
Oh,
He
really?
goes straight to the towel. I say, go on your towel.
Do you
I
know, you're a Henry VIII enthusiast. Do you know that one of the jobs he had on some of the ceremonial occasions when he was a boy, when his dad, Henry the Seventh, was king, he'd be the towel holder for the king. So the king, you know, you wipe your hands and your mouth mid-meal, like. So Henry'd be standing there with the towel.
What, like a coach in a boxing ring?
Yeah,
I like
so
that.
he'd have a big piece of chicken and say, here, come here, H. And then wipe his hands, give him the towel back.
Oh, God.
Great.
I like that.
Dear, that's a lousy
Do you
job,
think he
isn't
also helped him select sunglasses?
it? No, I don't think he... I don't know when sunglasses was invented.
Pierre will know that.
I know that they had. Well, I mean, aviators come from Second World War.
Who
Oh,
wore
they
the
must be
first?
older than
Yeah,
that.
they-
What, they might
Victorian.
have medieval sort of wooden ones or something.
But you know
Do you
that
think
bit-
anyone in... Oh, I'd love that, Frank.
Very hard to see through. Just solid wood.
Well, they had glass. I mean, there's that bit in...
I'd love to see early sunglasses,
Smoke,
guys.
In
there's little
Shakes-
round smoked glass things in Victorian
In
times.
Shakespeare's
Yes.
King Lear, he says, "What do you have there, boy?" And he says, "Nothing." And he says, "Ah, well, if it is nothing, I shall not need my spectacles."
And everyone goes, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, but so he's got he's got spectacles.
Yeah.
You can't do a spectacles joke if you don't have spectacles.
No.
Yeah, people would have booed.
Can we please,
Yeah.
if anyone...
What are spectacles? Would have come from the what do they call the cheap seats?
The groundlings.
The groundlings, yeah. What are spectacles exactly? well, there'll be a footnote. Will you wait? There'll be a footnote at the end. What's a footnote? Will you? I'll have you thrown out.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've had a lot of response to the photograph of you wearing your new orange beanie.
Okay.
Bought, I should add, just as a little footnote, with the remaining £35 on your Liberty gift voucher.
By the way, you asked me off air what make the sunglasses were.
Oh, yeah. And...
Cubits.
I
I don't know.
I bet you know that song. Oh,
Is it Cuba?
yeah.
Okay.
Qubits?
Cubits, you know it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Seem nice. How long is a cubit, Pierre?
Oh, I don't
Don't
know.
know.
Oh, you don't know?
Why don't you know?
I can't believe
These
that.
biblical measurements.
Well, we're getting responses, Frank, to your hat. A lot of people like it.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah,
See, I can't wear many hats because I've got a terrible, distended, domed Mekon head. And so I can't wear like a bowler or something. I'm not saying I'd wear a bowler around town,
If you could.
but a woolen hat's obviously got a bit of give in it.
Yes, it can adapt
Yeah.
to even the harshest head environment.
Oh God, a merino will extend.
David Parker
David Parker, yes.
has said MBE member of the Beanie Empire.
I could call it my beanie experience.
Yes.
And
If you don't mind me just running with that. We're riffing together, Dave, in a jazz club.
What,
You've played one theme and then I'm embroidering it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I think I'm not claiming it wasn't his original idea, the MBE.
we've been also, I've become rather obsessed with this idea of the early sunglasses. And I found some lovely examples of, I believe it was a Roman emperor, I think it might have been Nero, who used to use an emerald
Did
to
he
look
really?
through the sun.
Wow.
To shield his eyes from the sun.
Wow.
To watch gladiator fights, apparently.
What do you think of that, Frank?
Well, and I thought 65 quid was expensive for sunglasses.
Can you imagine something more decadent than going, well, these men are fighting to death for my pleasure, but could I watch it through a gem? Perhaps I could watch this through some jewellery.
Maybe there was a really big gladiator, and he said, he looks a bit like the Incredible Hulk. Have you got an emerald? Anyone got an emerald?
You'll see what I mean.
Oh, yeah, look at that now, look at that. That's it, that is the Incredible Hulk. I mean, talk about separated at birth. No, we haven't talked about that yet. Your Highness. Oh, sorry, I thought we'd already talked about
Imagine if that was the last thing you saw before you met your demise.
A giggling man with an emerald pressed to his face. A lunatic in a row.
Putting your thumb down at you.
Oh, I wonder if he held it or if he managed to sort of monocleize it and
He had the-
squint it in.
Very early Batman villain vibes.
Did he have an emerald holder?
Maybe for the sad bits in the fights, he would whip out the violin.
Yes.
The hero. With the monocled emerald in the eye
You've
at the
got
same time.
the cartoon sadness noise.
Yes.
This was before the solo piano, of course, of Britain's Got Talent. It was the neuronic fiddle that they at the back sadness with.
Frank Skinner,
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, I don't know if you saw this in the news, but it could be relevant to us here in the studio,
Yeah.
especially since during the festive season we had so many wonderful treats brought in by the producers and by ourselves. Are you aware of Professor Susan Jebb?
No.
Well, you should be, because she's the food czar.
Oh.
Oh, the fun spoiler.
Yeah. And like a czar, she has made a tyrannical statement.
Like a czar touch for the very first time.
Yes.
Do you think someone covered that in Russia and called it like a czar?
I don't like the civil service.
Deposed for the very first time.
They've
Like a great big ramen up czar. In a shed somewhere. In a tragic tale.
great big
All right,
woman of
Madonsky. We've got it. Sorry.
I'm just saying, Frank, I don't like the way the civil service has sort of...
Sybil service.
Civil.
Oh, okay.
Did I say Sybil?
I think you said Sybil.
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Apologies
I like the
if
idea
I
of the
do.
Sybil service. It's sort of a Faulty Towers feel to it.
No, I did. I was just going to say, I think I don't like the way they've appropriated the Tsar title because it's, as you say, it's sort of Russian monarchs and it's very glamorous and it's staring at sort of people through emeralds as eyeglasses.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Don't
have
bring
been-
your lanyards and your HR into this, baby.
No, and your whiteboards.
Why do we say czar? Because if someone had said, well, I'm the government's food Caesar, you'd sort of go, you what?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I call myself occasionally, and with irony, the poetry czar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could have gone for
Poetry.
nabob or
Yeah.
sultan.
Emperor.
Yeah.
I'm the satrap of crisps or something.
Oh, I don't know that one. Where's that one from?
A satrapy is like a sort of prince, princely realm that's granted and is removed upon your death. I think it's a sort of administrative thing. You don't get to inherit a satrapy. You're given it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There you go.
back to the
Well,
story.
the point is the satrap of food,
Yeah.
as Professor Susan Jebb prefers to be known.
Didn't the Boomtown Rats write a song about her?
Yeah.
It's a sack trap, Billy. You've been caught. Yes. She said
that bringing cake into the office is as harmful to your colleagues as secondhand smoking.
Yeah.
And I read that and cancelled my plans to bring a box of cigarillos in
Yeah. Oh,
this morning.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I haven't had a cigarillo for a long time. Very Clint Eastwood, man with no name.
Yeah.
Can I tell she's got a lot of stick for this,
Yes.
Jebbo.
People are furious at
SJ.
Yeah.
SJ.
I don't think it's a terrible thing to say, personally.
I don't think it deserves people. I presume by this point she's had a cake nailed to the front door of her house or something by the furious public.
I think there's a tremendous social pressure when there's cake. I find it in this very studio. When I remember that our former assistant producer, Faye, was something of a baker.
Yeah.
And she would bring in fabulous cakes.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, I'm a man of a certain age. Cake is dangerous to me.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I accepted a piece of cake with anything other than trepidation.
Really?
And resignation.
Oh, I find that very sad.
I think I don't really want to eat this cake, but I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Do you not like cake?
There's a lot of... I just don't like what it does to me.
Oh, dear.
I accept a slice of cake the same way I accept a shot of tequila.
Yeah, well, I can't accept that,
No.
of course. But no, there's something, if you don't have cake, people think you've got no real joy in your soul.
I think you're a Grinch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Well, I'm a Grinch apologist, as you know. I actually agree with the Grinch. But I do, yeah, I think it's difficult. I suppose it depends on the cake for me.
I think, isn't it
Because-
for the English, it's our version of carnival.
Yeah.
If you say no to it, you are really a miserable stop in the house person. Can we come? I just want to stop your point because I want you to save it for after this because I'm getting time pressures.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We're discussing cake.
Yeah.
But just briefly, Celia has got in touch saying, "Hi all, I feel as an optometrist, is that the right
Oh,
way to
yeah.
say? I need to issue a caution to you and your readers. Please don't use emeralds as sun protection."
Fair enough.
Okay?
I once watched...
It won't give you full... Sorry, Frank. It won't give you full UV block.
Emeralds
I
are.
once watched... I once watched a virtually complete eclipse through a bin liner. How does that? Is that safe?
Through a bin liner.
Yeah.
It's like a sort of budget Nero.
Yeah, exactly.
The Emperor has tightened his belt.
You know, there was a fall and rise of the Roman Empire.
Do you think when they looked up at the Emperor's box in the Colosseum and saw that he was watching through a bin liner, they
They
thought,
thought,
"Uh-oh."
you know what, maybe this barbarian thing's getting out of hand.
Did someone say, "Oh, typical broken Rome"?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we go into hell in a chariot.
Frank,
goodness.
you can't watch things through bin liners. A man of your calibre, you've got, as you often...
I hadn't got any sunglasses then. This is before I got my voucher.
Oh, but as you often tell us, you've got international representation.
Yeah, I don't know if that's been very busy. Yeah.
Frank, 283, just a brief...
Unless I'm extradited. I don't think that'll be brought into action. 203.
283,
Yeah.
just brief I quite like interjecting these occasionally.
Oh, God, I love
I hope
an
you don't mind. It's a
interjection.
bit off topic, but 283. Hi, Frank and team. I recently went shopping with my friend, and she went to park in a multi-story. I was sat in the passenger seat, anticipating the usual take the seat belt off / open the car door faffery at the ticket machine.
Yeah.
When
Is Rishi Sunak listening to this thinking, what are you talking about? I just stepped straight out of the car.
Just lean fully out the window.
when quick as a flash, she produced a set of tongs
Oh. Oh, God.
from the door pocket
Impromptu medical.
and grabbed the ticket with them
What?
from the machine. So
That's-
she kept tongs in the car.
Good
for the
idea.
machine. When I regained my composure and expressed my surprise, she simply said, "Yeah, car tongs." Is this a thing?
I think
Or
it's
do
a
I
great...
just shop with geniuses? I would value your input and I love your output. That's from Joe.
That's a lovely closing line. I think that's
Yeah,
a good
car
idea.
tongs.
Car tongs.
It's a good idea, but I absolutely dispute the fact that, car tongs is a thing.
No, maybe not, but obviously in her life. And I am one of those people who never park close enough. Even like in garages, I end up like leaning back on the hose to get it far enough out of the machine so it reaches my petrol tanks. I park so far from the
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
But car tongs, I think, is a great idea.
Do you? What do you think, Pierre?
I think it'd be fun to, as long as you do the little test click that you must do with tongs before you use them. Just a couple of tick, 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 and then
Oh, okay.
What
a
sort
little
of
test
tongs are we talking about? I'm seeing as a sort of grilled
Barbecue tongs.
Yeah,
Oh,
barbecue
no, I was
tongs.
thinking of wooden hot laundry tongs. That's what I was
Oh,
imagining.
you're going more Flintstones.
No, but I think I like that. Imagine the lovely do of them closing on the ticket and just pulling it out.
That's nicer than the sort of clawed sausage turning tongs
That's
that
what
I was imagining.
Yeah. He was a very posh bloke, Claude sausage,
Clawed sausage turning.
Claude sausage. He
Hyphenated
was one
name.
of the Hampshire sausage turnings.
Lovely people.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Emily Dean, Pierre Novelli. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. UK,
No.
as Matt Berry would say.
Yes. Regarding the cake tyranny, is this not? Does it not
Told
just?
you, don't call me Tiffany. So I can't carry on.
No. Is it not a matter of personal choice?
No.
Or does cake
isn't.
require to be eaten?
Well, when men go out
Yes.
drinking,
Yeah.
if you're a man who's with them and thinks, actually, I don't really feel like it tonight, I might just have a sparkling Vimto. You know the enormous pressure that bloke's going to get to drink. It's the same with cake.
Yeah.
Come on, have a bit of cake. I'll just have a really small bit, and they always cut you a slightly bigger bit than you wanted. And
Especially if it's for someone's sort of birthday.
yeah,
And you don't want to be
it's
sort
like
of.
you're rejecting them.
Yeah, you're saying, well, I hate your birthday and I'm
Yeah.
furious you were ever born.
Yeah.
No cake.
I think cake refusing it, 'cause I do think that. So I see what you're saying, Frank. I do judge
It's,
these
it's
people.
false. I can't remember the last time I had a piece of cake that I actually wanted.
Well,
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember that.
even the Prime Minister has weighed in on this.
Yep.
Yes, I said weighed in. Rishi
Yeah, he certainly is. Yes.
has said, because people have obviously been saying this is outrageous, this is diabolical, they're calling it.
It's a
Frank, so-
diabolical liberty.
It's a diabolical
Forcing
liberty.
people to eat cake.
Yeah.
And the Prime Minister has felt the need to weigh in and say, it's gone a bit calmed down a bit here. He said, look, I'm very partial to a piece of cake. He exclusively revealed that he most enjoys carrot cake and red velvet cake. 1997.
He would have fitted
eats
in
that
well in
these
the
days?
French government just before the revolution. with
Yes.
Let them eat.
I have
Apparently,
to
she said
say-
let them eat brioche, which is actually even
Did
better.
she really?
Yeah, which is and don't tell me you haven't heard parents saying that in Hampstead.
I heard that she'd actually said let them eat Bruce Rioch, who was a footballer from the 70s and 80s who'd been captured.
Sign Dennis Bergkamp for us, thank you.
Can you imagine the panic that would have ensued if Richie had admitted to liking sort of millionaire shortbread or something? And they would have gone, no, not that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many people that was run through?
Yeah.
Well,
Carrot cake and the red velvet.
Whenever
Yeah.
a politician says anything about being human, it always sounds like they're an alien in a film who's
Yeah.
landed and he's working undercover as a human,
Yeah.
and they are actually looking at the computer as they answer.
Yes.
So, what do you? I like red velvet, and I also I'm a big fan of lemon drizzle, and it's
Yeah.
like that.
I enjoy human food.
It doesn't like. They don't like human anything.
No.
They
Well,
like politics, is what they like.
Yeah, I think people would respect them more than if they did that when Gordon Brown sort of said, "I like the Arctic monkeys." And
Yeah.
they sort of go, no, you don't.
And he got asked about biscuits and all
Yeah.
that, and then
Yeah.
the 8 people spin doctors say which is the
You go, quick,
most.
we need relatable but fun.
You
Yeah.
see, I think that would be the only bit of the job I'd like.
Yeah.
Would be answering the questions about Arctic monkeys and things and
I would
cake.
say all I care about is politics.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in any of that.
It would be great to have a politician just go, look, I'm busy. Do I have
Yeah.
to? And
I
everyone
don't
would
know.
go,
Look,
"Oh,
I don't know
great."
anything about football, pop music, confectionery,
you
television,
leave me alone?
films. And the reason I don't know it is because I'm sacrificing myself for you people.
Yeah.
And that's what I should say, not start pretending that they... What did he like again? Carrot cake.
Carrot cake and red velvet.
Clearly, we go for the healthiest cake.
Well, he went for 2 options, and he went for the red velvet because he thought, it makes me sound like, a bit fun-loving as
a
well.
bit papal.
My gift...
Yes. The most papal
I
cake.
tell you, it is a bit late 90s, early 2000s, that. It's a bit retro, love.
Honestly, I wish they'd just stop trying to do the human thing.
Also, if you're going to say something, make it worth saying. Go weird, go donut tower. Don't stick with your red velvet.
No, come on, guys.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Nice.
Frank, where does this leave you? We're obviously talking about cake this morning. And
Well,
whether...
we're talking about force-feeding cake through moral blackmail,
Yes.
social pressures at work.
Wow.
That's what we're
Moral
talking about.
blackmail.
Yeah.
That really escalated.
Yeah.
Where do the problem you must have, though, is that one of your favourite shows is, of course, Is It Cake?
Well, that is true. But Is It Cake I see more as a programme about art than bakery.
You're sort of UN cake observer.
Yeah, but it's amazing. It is real human ingenuity, Is It Cake? The way where someone coming over and say, it's Linda's birthday, do you want a slice of this? With that little pile of plates they carry.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, look, it's my birthday next Saturday.
Yes, we know.
Wouldn't it be a lovely gift for me
got that
if
in.
we just didn't have the cake thing?
Do you think so?
What if we had a cake, but it was an Is It Cake style cake, / maybe a shoe, and
No.
you just got to watch us try and cut into it?
I think, let's
you know-
skip. Shall we skip the cake?
Well, I think maybe we should discuss this off air. It's an HR issue.
I don't want the cake. I'm not. If you bring
Do
cake,
you not?
I'm not eating it.
Would you rather have a sort
you
of
not?
rotisserie chicken?
I'd rather have a persimmon. Can you get me one of those?
We won't.
I love a persimmon. I don't know about
Really?
you. Yeah, have you ever tried one?
No.
I don't think so.
I've got a
Fabulous.
better idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we bring 1 bar of chocolate, 1 square each? Like that dark chocolate men like.
Like a
Even
ritual.
that.
Yeah.
It'd be quite ritualistic. We each take 1 piece on this, his name day.
Do you not want anything, Frank? Glass of water, maybe?
I'll have a glass of water, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Maybe some toast with salt on, like Victoria Beckham has.
I love the idea of someone dimming the lights and carrying a big glass of water
Happy
happy.
birthday to
Yeah, well, you could put an isotope in it for glowing.
Frank blowing on the water.
No, honestly,
cube.
Bring in a Bunsen burner to sort of make it feel a
Yeah.
bit more
I
atmospheric.
think not having a cake would feel like a gift in itself.
Well, that's easily sorted, mate.
Exactly.
You got your birthday
people?
wish.
What about when people have cupcakes to bring that in? Oh, I brought in some cupcakes. There's a bit of cake, but mainly it's just a base for a 2-inch stack of icing I want you to eat. Otherwise, you don't love me.
Do you know what it feels like
Cupcakes are
sometimes? Getting into the cupcake, it's like those books I tell you about, where there's 3 pages of architecture or description or landscape. I don't want that. Just get me to the meat and bones.
Yeah.
And I find with cupcakes, I give up. The equivalent of 3 pages in.
I find you like those snakes that have to dislocate your jaw to
Yes.
eat one, and it's like Scooby-Doo eating.
Yes, yeah.
Stupid.
I'm anti-icing.
And also, there's other things around, birthdays. It's not all cake. What about someone comes in the office? My birthday today, so I've brought a couple of bottles of scotch in. Sue?
Pass it around.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
It turns out, doesn't it, in hindsight, that getting the bumps was much healthier than the cake thing.
Oh, I see, for birthdays.
But yeah, when people like the bumpers, they get a good upper body workout, upper body, lower back, and those being bumped because you have to clench your buttocks as you're hitting the ground. It's a lovely little pelvic floor exercise.
Yeah.
Whereas cake
Yeah.
just makes you fat.
With each birthday, though, the bumps become more dangerous once you hit your 80s and 90s.
Yeah, but you won't be at work. That's why people retire at 65.
The bumps get too much.
The bumps then are too dangerous. That's why they introduced it in the first place.
That's why the French are protesting. 64 bumps, it is too much.
That's how my dog talks.
Is it?
Yeah, my dog is a French poodle.
Sophisticated.
Very sophisticated.
You see, I think with cake, we mentioned this off air, Frank, I think you've got to view it as a meal in itself almost. If I view it, it's a it's a date you've got to make with cake. You can't just gobble it willy-nilly. You have to say, right, I'm meeting a friend for cake.
Yeah.
And a cup of tea. That's it. That's all I'll consume in that 2-hour period.
But you see, the cup of tea, to me, that's the other thing that happens at work, is people expect you to eat cake without a cup of tea.
That's true.
Or any sweet thing without a cup
People
of
expect you to.
tea. Yeah.
On a paper plate standing.
Standing, eating cake.
That's depressing, isn't it? I tell you what I always hated. I don't really drink these days, but the wine at work, even in my drinking days, I drew the line. There's nothing more depressing than a warm wine in a plastic water cup.
I don't think you should be drinking at work. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Alcohol czar.
Yeah.
Stop drinking at work, for God's sake.
Stop forcing people to eat stuff that's bad for them and drinking at work.
Are you going through Lent or something?
No, I am with this lady. Having said that, I take your point. The male person.
Right, David Attenborough.
I'm one of those. My average calorific intake is supposed to be 2,500 calories a day.
Okay.
Now, a Colin the Caterpillar cake, you've seen those?
Yeah.
They're 450 calories.
A
slice.
A segment. Are you talking about thorax?
I think
or
the
head?
whole cake's 450.
No, the whole thing's going to be
No, I
thousands.
think the head.
But if let's say the whole
the head
thing
would be
is...
about 800.
if I thought I'm really fancy a Colin the Caterpillar, I'd be happy to skip the rest of the food for that day and just have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when you're piling one on top of another.
I feel sorry for Professor Jeb because it's an uphill. It's an impossible task she's been given. Get the nation to stop eating cake.
I know.
What a hospital pass.
Well, she could have gone for drinking, which is absolutely impossible.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, far be it from me to ever say anything serious on this show, but I think people suffer a lot more from secondary drinking than they do from secondary smoking.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you think anyone genuinely likes fish? I don't.
Yes, I do.
Do you?
I mean, I know what you mean.
Well, you choose it. I think you eat it because you think it's good for you.
Well, cod roe is not fish, it's eggs, but it's still sort of fish. Tarama salata I like, smoked salmon, and then smoked herring things. The rest of, I admit, the rest is like taking healthy lozenges.
The smell is absolutely diabolical.
A high price to preparing it.
But then, you have these opinions. You upset people. Was it last week or the week before when you launched an attack?
A broadside, as the press would say.
Yeah. A slightly mistimed attack on Pythagoras.
Yes, I'm the Piers Morgan of ancient Greece. I can't help it.
Yeah.
You hate all the pies.
Yeah, very good.
I might get a T-shirt with that. No, I'm just saying I don't 100% believe it. His theorem.
I was pointing out the fact that you could measure the world's tallest man by finding out how far you were away from him and then measuring the angle. And if you got the length of the two angles, you could estimate his length because of the triangle.
And I said...
You said I don't
You
believe
said
that.
rubbish.
I don't believe that Pythagoras stuff.
I think what I said was I've never believed it.
Yes, and we had contact from a man who was
a Pythagorean.
Yeah,
a livid Pythagorean.
We haven't got Pythagoras' spin doctor. Oh,
yes.
Go on.
So. Do you have it?
Yeah.
What did he say?
It's Jim Dungan.
Okay.
Which is a hell of a name.
I like it.
Yeah.
Jim Dungan. Subject Pythagoras theorem. So we know we're in for a lambasting.
I am.
Yeah. Hi, Emily. Absolutely love the Frank Skinner show. But however...
Don't read out those.
Sorry, yeah. But you'll see it's more than made up for by his fury.
Give me something,
I could not believe my ears when you said this morning that the Pythagoras theorem is rubbish. That theorem is one of the most basic mathematical theorems ever devised and has been used for over 2,000 years by mathematicians, engineers, and the like.
Yeah, you say.
Yeah. I use it myself all the time when pursuing my hobby of designing military vehicles.
Ah, that's a hobby, not a job.
Oh.
No.
What happens to those designs?
Never make your passion your job.
No.
You'll only ruin it for yourself.
Yes.
You say that no one will ever know if it is true. Well, all you have to do is get a sheet of... I mean, he goes on at length to basically explain...
Yeah.
And he says, in fact, I'm willing to bet £1,000 that you are completely wrong.
Yeah.
To say the theorem is rubbish, which means you're saying that millions of mathematicians and engineers, past and present, are wrong, and you are right, really does put you up there with the Flat Earth Society.
Oh, dear. It's all gone a bit Kanye.
Yeah, so put your money where your mouth is and take up the challenge. Apart from the above, which has left me flabbergasted, praise redacted.
Ah.
But he is flabbergasted.
He is.
Do you know what? Having listened to all that,
Yes.
I still don't believe it.
Well, I had a moment this week where I think it happens to every father. My son brought home a mathematical question which I just couldn't do.
What did you say?
I just couldn't do it.
I would have lied.
I said I can't do it.
Did you?
I said I had to. I was given three. He was given three fractions. I'll do this quickly, and then we'll come back. Three fractions, and then it says list them from least to greatest. Okay. If only it had been three people from history, but no, it was three fractions. Fractions.
Or comedians.
3/4, 2/5, and 4/9. I said, yeah, forget it. Lowest common denominator, 180ths. I said, you're not doing it. I put a stop to it. I did.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So I went into school to discuss the maths.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is with my son's school is you can't take your dog in. You have to carry it.
Oh.
And so I had 10-minute conversation about fractions carrying the dog. I mean, I could feel my arms. And also, I'm not very good at carrying the dog. I end up carrying like a baby, so it's upside down looking at me. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
With its legs in the air.
So you weren't carrying it the way a farmer would carry a sort of pig over
No,
a
I
sty.
can't do that. So the dog's looking at me in the face like, what is the meaning of this? French poodle. She's also half Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, I should say.
Yes.
So she's very dismissive about the power of Parliament as well. But, so we went and talked it through. So I've had a difficult maths week as well.
Carrying a dog and discussing maths sounds like one of those old Olympics events you hear about that they sort of got rid of after 1907.
It really does.
When people got Olympic
ancient
medals
Olympic.
for poetry and stuff. They literally did. And art.
Yeah.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes,
And there was-
my dog, as you know, my dog hails from Imperial China.
Does he?
Shih Tzu, the Imperial palaces, and they were bred as they were bred to be lap dogs, but foot warmers as well for the
Really?
emperors. Yeah.
Okay.
Put them at the bottom of the bed. Keep your feet
Well, I
lovely.
mean, that's where you put your feet.
It's true.
Makes sense.
Frank, just briefly, I know we don't have long, but Jackie Bell, who I would like to give a shout out to because she's our Hamburg listener.
Oh, okay, lovely.
I mean, we may have more than one, I don't know, but she's raised her head above the parapet. Hey, Frank et al., I have a sad-faced dog too. Full stop. It's very poetic, this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think she hates everyone and everything, but it's really just her natural expression.
Yeah,
She's
but,
looked miserable for more than 17 years now,
wow.
so it can't be bad. I know the feeling,
She's not
dear.
going to cheer up now. Have you tried cake?
Listening from Hamburg, Jackie and Miserable Dog Scout.
Oh. Well, I think
Love
our dog,
Jackie.
I don't think it is. I think it's happy, but it looks sad.
He's won the lottery, your dog. Lovely life he's got.
He?
She, I'm so sorry.
Don't you know how important pronouns are? Anyway, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, I'll be back next week for my birthday.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.